Hi Stitchy friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Joanne and I am the Eclectic Stitcher. Today is Sunday, November 30th, and this is a FlossTube channel all about cross stitching, and every once in a while I'll show you some diamond painting that I may be working on. If you're new here, thank you for stopping by and visiting with me. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you for continuing to come back and interacting with me. For those of you that live in the United States and celebrate Thanksgiving, I hope that you had a great Thanksgiving celebration this last week. I know I ate a lot of food, spent a lot of time with family, and things went well. I also got to visit my LNS, which is Crafty Framers in Largo, Florida. I do live in the center of the state of Florida. And so I do get the opportunity to visit Miss Peggy and Rick and Miss Anna at Crafty Framers. I have some finishes to share with you today. I've got some new starts. And like I said, I do have whips and I have a diamond painting project that I am working on. I do want to remind you all, if you have not already, that next weekend, December 5th, 6th, and 7th, is the Jingle Ball. The Jingle Ball is hosted by Steph, who is Lindy Stitches. It is an online virtual retreat. If you have not signed up for the Jingle Ball, I highly recommend you sign up. For $15, you get in for the weekend. There's lots of entertainment. She has 12 designers that will be doing classes and will be doing meet and greets. There's chat rooms, lots and lots of fun. I have been doing Jingle Ball for the last 3 years, and it's like one of the highlights of the year. We all wait all year long to get to this weekend. So I will link Lindy Stitch's website below so that you can check her out, and maybe I'll see you there. If you see me there, make sure that you stop in and say hello and just chat. One thing that I do want to remind you is that in December, I will be doing a couple of FlossTube extras. I want to do a FlossTube video about all of my stitchy stuff. I've had people ask me, how do I store my charts? How do I store my fabric? How do I store my floss? I know a lot of you have different ideas and different ways that you do things. And so I thought, why not share that with you? So there will be a video about that. I am going to hopefully do a video about all my finishes that I have displayed at my office at work. I have a bookshelf at work where I display all my finishes. So I want to do a video about that. Just kind of show you some of the things that I've done in the past. One thing that I don't do is I don't do whip parades. I personally am not a fan of whip parades, but there are a lot of people that like whip parades and they like seeing whip parades. I just feel like when I do a FlossTube video, I am showing you what I'm stitching on. Now, if you like to see whip parade and you want to see everything that I have, which by the way, I have about 64, 65 whips, I can do that. I would probably have to split it into 2 videos, but I don't know. Is that something that we have to do or not? I know that's our option, our choice, but if any of you are interested or you feel like, yes, get with the program, Joanne, do a whip parade because everybody's doing it, then I will do that. I don't mind doing that, but otherwise, I normally don't. I personally don't watch whip parades. I don't know if I said that, but let me know. Let me know what you think. But do look out for that in December. I do go back to work tomorrow, and we're in school for 2 weeks. And then we're off for 3 weeks for the winter break. So yay! I work for a state college here in our town. And so it's really nice when winter break comes that we get usually anywhere from 2 to 2.5 weeks. This year we're lucky to get 3 weeks off. So I am looking forward to that. I'm definitely going to spend a lot of my time reorganizing my stitchy stuff and just kind of getting my stuff together for 2026. I know a lot of floss tubers out there are doing planning videos for 2026. One thing that I don't like to do is do too much planning. I like to just stitch whenever, whatever. I do have a random wheel that I have all my whips listed on there. And so when I want to stitch something, I will, spin the wheel and see what comes up. And usually I'll stitch that. But I don't really like to do plans. I do participate in some challenges, but it's very flexible, loosey-loosey type things. I do participate in Laura, who is Stitching by the Shore. She has something that's called, oh, I can't believe I just forgot. I Spy, where she gives you 10 prompts, and so you try to find a whip that fits that prompt. And then I do try to participate in the acrostic for monthly magazine channel, or FlossTube, no, monthly magazine group, who is ran by Sisu Stitch and Robin, who's the Bird's Eye Stitches. So, and I don't really plan for those. What I do is I have the sheets printed. And so when I stitch on a whip, I look on those sheets to see if I can fit that whip into any of those categories. If I do, then I put it in there. If I don't, then that's okay. So I don't always fill up a sheet or anything, but it's just a way to kind of keep track of certain things. But I'll talk more about that when I do my FlossTube Extra. So let's get started with some whips. I think that's all. I have some notes here. I want to make sure that, so listen up, guys. This is exciting news for me. So I'm not going to talk too much about it, but I'm going to just mention it because I'm excited. So Crafty Framer has been doing a weekend retreat in the summer here in Florida, called Bee Treat, BEE. And I've been stitching for 4 years, and I found Crafty Framers, I want to say 2 years ago. And so when I found out about him, I heard about the Bee Treat, and I thought, oh, I'm going to join. So I've attended the last 2 Bee Treats that they had, and she usually hosts it in July. So the last couple of years, she's been kind of saying, they're getting to the point now where she's got a lot going on in her personal life and doesn't know that she wants to continue doing Bee Treat, because I get it. It's a lot of work. I love attending retreats, but I really enjoy Bee Treat because it's 3 days. The cost covers the lodging, the food, the retreat. It's perfect, And so last year this last summer, she had announced that she will probably cancel the retreat. And so I had sent her a message and I said, I'm really going to miss Bee Treat. Like, what can we do to save this? Is it that you need help, or, what can we do to save it? And she texts me back and she says, you want to take over it? And I thought, oh no. While I can organize events, and I can help out with events, I have never, ever hosted a retreat. So I thought, I thought about it and I thought, I can't just say, yes, I'm going to take over. Like, there's a lot that happens with a retreat. Now, her retreat is it's more like a come and stitch, whatever you want. She doesn't have designers. She'll have swag bags and things like that. And we talked a little bit about that, do we need to have a swag bag? Can't we just keep it as one of those, like, sit and stitch? Just come bring, let's get together. She's been doing this retreat for at least 20 years. And so a lot of these ladies continue to come back every year. And so I felt like I need to do something to help. So gave it about a week's thought, talked to different people, and I was encouraged and motivated, like, hey, do it. So I'm not taking over the retreat, but I am going to be helping Miss Peggy. I told Miss Peggy, I said, I can help organize, I can help decorate, I can help plan. we don't usually play games or things like that, but I thought, let's do things. And so I can do all the organizing, the games, the decorations. I also made contact with a designer that I've known for a couple of years. I'm not going to say her name because I know a lot of you know who she is, but I got in contact with her and I said, hey, can you do a chart for us, an exclusive chart? And of course she says yes, and so I'm excited. I told Miss Peggy, I said, hey, I even got a designer to do an exclusive chart for us. So I've been putting a lot of thinking and things like that for the retreat. And I told Peggy, I says, the only thing I don't want to do is I don't want to have nothing to do with money. You handle the money. You handle organizing the room situation. We stay in cabins, and most of the cabins you room with another person. They do have one cabin for individuals that want to be in a room by themselves. So we pay a little extra to have a room by ourselves, but usually all the ladies, they like to be partnered and they sleep well together, and it's great. The rooms have twin beds, everybody gets along, but see, she knows these ladies. So I told her, I says, you handle the payments, you handle the organizing with the campgrounds. I can do the rest, you know. I even told her, she said she wanted some project bags. I said, well, my mom makes my project bags. I'm sure that my mom will love to do your project bags for the event. So, and I didn't want to spend a whole lot of time talking about this, but I just get excited because I'm like, we're going to save this retreat and hopefully it will work out. Like I said, I know she has things going on with her husband and things going on. So I am doing my best. I'm going to do my best to take the load off of her as far as planning and putting things together so that we can have a successful retreat. So yeah, so I am looking forward to that. If you have any idea of things that you've done at retreats that you think will be something I can add or incorporate into ours, let me know. I've been to a couple retreats in the past, but I do a lot of the online retreats, which are a little bit different. So I am open for ideas. Heck, anything. I just want this to be successful, and I want to get these ladies together and continue to have this retreat. So yeah, so that's something exciting that's going on. I mean, we're about 7, 8 months away, but I will tell you that the last couple of months, this brain has not stopped thinking. I have a notebook with ideas of things that I want to do. And, I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm like, oh, we can do this, or oh, we can do that. Yeah. So I drive myself crazy, but I love it. And so I'm looking forward to that. So I will keep you posted, let you know how things are going. And yeah, let me know below if you have any ideas or any words of encouragement that you can give me, because I know it's a big job, but I know it's going to go well. I know it will be perfectly fine. So anyways, okay, so I spent 13 and a half minutes talking about things, and I just want to get to my whips. And let's get started. So the first two I'm going to show you are new starts. So I'm going to show you here. This is Color for Cats Sunrise. This is by Kitty and Me Designs. This chart is actually an exclusive. It was designed exclusively for the crafty framers. There are other color palettes, but this particular color palette was designed for crafty framers. She has this whip on her wall, and I just thought it was really pretty. I have a little bit of a start here in the middle. I did start in the middle. I am stitching this on a 25 count Lugana by Witchold, and it's opalescent. I don't know if you can see the glitter, but it is glittery. So if you know what opalescent looks like, that's what I got. And I'm just stitching it just because I just thought it was a cute chart. I like the model. And so I just wanted to start it. It actually came up on my wheel, not last week, but the week before. So, and I got it started. And I am just using the DMC called 4 colors. And this does take a Krynic. I've never stitched with Krynic. I don't have a Krynic, so I don't know if I will stitch it with Krynic or if I will just substitute it for another color. We'll see. This next chart, this was actually a chart that I won from another FlossTuber. And it's called Colors of Fall by Robin Pickens. I just wanted to start it. When they sent me the chart, they actually sent me all the call for DMC colors. So, excuse me. So I thought, why not? I've got fabric there. Let me just get a piece of fabric and I'll start it. Now, I will tell you that when I was putting these charts together to show you, I noticed that this leaf, I'm missing a row. I don't know if you can tell, but the way I could tell was because this stem is not in the middle. I have 4 X's here, and this is not in the middle. And I'm looking at that thing, I'm like, what in the world? So then I realized that I did not stitch 1 row here. Now, do I need to stitch it? Does it look bad? Can you tell? Probably not. If I didn't tell you, you probably can't tell. I have not decided if I'm going to try to fudge it and try to fix it or just leave it. Well, let me know. Do you think it looks bad? I mean, like I said, the only reason I noticed it was because the stem is not even. There should be 5 below. There should be another orange there. But let me know. I don't know. But it's funny when you see things after the fact that you stitch it. And I even posted it on social media. I took a picture, posted it and all that. Nobody said anything, so probably nobody's noticed it. But you know it now because I told you. Anyways. All right, so let's go to WIP. So those are my only 2 new starts. I says finishes. Okay. So I worked on 2 small projects. They were, it's called Colorful Critters by Dara, who's World on a Stitch or something like that. I have to admit that I don't know where I put them. I took them to my LNS this last week in a Ziploc bag because I was going to have her kind of show me how to turn them into ornaments. At work, we're doing a Christmas party on the 12th, and they put me in charge of organizing the Thanksgiving and the Christmas luncheon at work. So, so the Christmas luncheon we're going to be doing, we usually play a game. Usually we do a white elephant game. And then this year, one of my coworkers says, hey, why don't we do like a ugly sweater contest or maybe an ornament contest? So we decided that we were going to do an ornament contest. And the ornaments that are brought in for judging, we're going to use them for our Christmas tree next year. Now, because I am hosting the event and I am going to be providing a gift card to the winner, I'm not going to put in ornaments to judge. But I thought, I just finished these 2 ornaments. Why not finish, or these 2 projects? They're small. They're about this big. And I thought I could turn them into ornaments. But anyways, all that to say, I could not find them. And I think I left them at my parents' house. So, note to self, I need to call my mom and ask her. But I just realized I had finished this on my notes, but I lost them. I don't have them. Anyway, so let's go on to WIPs. Is this upside down? No. Now, some of you may have seen this. This is called Put a Bird on It by Modern Folk Embroidery. And this was a stitch along this year by Sheila and EJ, who are the Sunshine Stitchers. And so this is a year-long stitch along. It started December last year, and it's going to end here in a couple of weeks. As you can see, mine's not going to be done anytime soon, but that's okay. I don't mind starting along. I just sometimes don't keep up with it, but that's okay. But I'm stitching this on an 18 count Aida. It's just a white Aida, and the color that I'm using is a Manor Red by Classic Colorworks. A lot of people that participate in the event did their own colors. They used their own fabrics. I thought it would be easier just to do the Manor Red because it is variegated. You can see some variegation there. And so I thought it would be a nice red sampler. So this last week, I finished this half of this motif and I started this one here in the middle. When EJ scheduled this event, she kind of cut this chart into 12 parts. So the idea was to work on one part a month. But you know what? You could do whatever you want. So when I do charts like that, I normally just kind of jump around wherever I just feel like going. So I worked on that a little bit this last week. This next one is Calling Birds by Satsuma Street. Now this is a kit that I purchased at Jingle Ball last year. I've never done any Mill Hill kits, but when I saw this, and actually I think there's two more that came together with this, and I thought, oh, I can try this. But now I will tell you that I've never done any beading, and so when I finished this phone, I thought, oh, I'm going to bead around here and see how that goes. I think it turned out really cute. I like how that looks. It wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. But I got the chance to work on this in the last couple of weeks. I really think it's cute. I know a lot of times people who do Mill Hill kits, they can get these done like in a day or two. Sometimes I'll work on charts for a day or two, but I do take a lot of breaks here and there. I don't just sit for a couple of hours. But I really like how that's looking. So I wanted to share that. And I have a dear friend of mine that her husband made me a magnet frame that fits that. He actually made me two, which is nice. He has one of those 3D printers. So I said, hey, do you think you can make me a couple of those? And she was very nice to get those done for me. And let me tell you, when you work with perforated paper, having a frame is a must. It is so much easier and nicer to work with when it's on a frame. This next whip, this is Dreaming Frida by Barbara Anna Designs. And I started it because I wanted to join in on Laura, who's stitching by the shore. She was doing a Stitch Barbara Anna stitch along, and so I wanted to join with that. And that was a couple of years ago. I started this back in November of 23. So I'm still working on this. Laura didn't really have any specifications as to when to finish or anything like that. She just said, when you stitch on it, just tag her on that. And so this last time I worked on this, I think I finished this, and I did this section here. And again, I do jump around. Sometimes I'll come here and stitch here. I'll jump around in some of my charts. And I'm stitching this on an 18 count Aida Vintage Country Mocha, and I'm just using the called for DMC. I think this is a really cute chart. All right. Ooh, one more. Wow, we're going through this quick. That's good. We're at 24 minutes. Perfect. I do like to keep my videos as short as possible. This last whip is A Stitcher's Wish by Holly Freeman, who's the Stitchy Pros. And I had gotten this chart back in 2023 when I went to Stitching in the Wild that Garon Stitchery did. And their first retreat was here in Fort Lauderdale when they were living here. And so Stitchy Pros was a guest designer. She attended the event. And so I have purchased this to stitch with my friend Shelly. And so the idea was to start it at that retreat and finish it for the next one. Obviously, I have not finished this. This was back in 2023. And I have not returned to the retreats. They've now moved to Alabama, so that's been kind of a challenge for me to go. But I am still working on this. I am stitching this on a 28 count Lugana. The color is sand and it's by Charles Craft. And I had started this on an Ada, but then I realized that these stitches, you know, to do some of those specialty stitches, it's better to do it on an even weave or linen. Now, I don't stitch on linen, so I went with the even weave. But I really like this. This is really cute. When I last picked this up, I stitched some more of this section down here. When it comes to border, I don't, you know, some people will stitch them first and then move to the inside. I kind of just go along with it. When I pick the whip up and stitch on it, I may add some to the border, just because to me borders sometimes tend to be boring. That one's not too bad, but it is repetitive. I think that's the word. But I really like stitching on this. I do have quite a bit of whips that I started back in 2023 that really need to be done. And so I am hoping, okay, so I said at the beginning that I don't do plans, but one of the things that I've been thinking about is I really need to pull up whips that are back from 2023, like my older whips that are almost done, and just finish them. So that may be something in December when I start organizing my stuff, my stitchy stuff. Maybe I'm going to start pulling out some of my older whips and seeing how much, you know, if it's something that just needs a couple of hours to work on, I want to knock them out. I am a process stitcher. I don't finish a lot of things quickly. I just like to stitch. I like to start things. I have a lot of charts that I want to stitch. And one of the things that I was thinking too is, hey, I need to start new projects. Maybe once a month start a project. But I don't know. So we'll see. So even though I don't do plans, I do think about things that I can do to help get some of these whips done. So that's something that I might do. You know, this should not take that long. I mean, when it comes to words, like I can probably knock that out in a couple of weeks, a few days or whatnot, you know. But yeah, so that's one thing that I do think I want to do in 26 is focus on some of those older ones and get them done. So that is it. Oh, wait, no, I did say diamond painting. One moment. Okay. So one thing about me is before I started stitching, I discovered diamond painting. And so I was an avid diamond painter for about a year. And then in a diamond painting group that I was in, a Facebook group, somebody had shown a cross stitch that they did. And I thought, ooh, I want to try that. And so when I picked up cross stitch, it was in 2022. I think so. 2022. Summer of 2022. Yes. 21. Maybe 21. 2021. I picked up cross stitch and I kind of put diamond painting on the back burner. So I do a little bit, I do little charts that I have, and I'll take them to work with me and I'll work on them at lunchtime. But this one I recently bought. Now the backstory with this one is my friend had given me a diamond painting that she wanted us to do for her. And so I had given it to my daughter to do it for her. And in the process of my daughter moving from one room to another, last year sometime, she lost this diamond painting kit. And so I felt really bad. And my friend had asked me about it recently, and I thought, you know, going to be honest with you, she lost it. I thought that she would have forgotten about the diamond painting because we've had it for a couple of years. And so I felt bad because, you know, I should have just done the diamond painting and it would have been done and all that. Well, because my daughter lost it, I felt responsible for it. And I said, let me buy her a new diamond painting and let me start it. So I sent her a couple. She likes butterflies. She likes purple butterflies. And so I found this on Amazon. And I told her, I had sent her a couple of pictures, and I said, hey, I found a couple different ones. Let me know which one you like, and I will buy it and do it for you. And I told her, I says, it's going to take me a little time. This is I think it's a 12 by 16 or something like that. It's like cross stitching. I can't finish a cross stitch unless I monogamously work on it, and I don't. So I told her it's going to take me some time, but I will work on it. So I worked on this one night. I started it, and I was able to get this section done. And I think it's just a cute little chart. And if you don't know what diamond painting is, really it's just a canvas that is sticky, and you get these little, they call them drills, I think. I don't remember what they're called. And you just stick them on there. This is a combination of color by number and cross stitching. A lot of the colors you can combine them with cross stitching. And I know that people have turned diamond painting into cross stitching, which I think it's pretty cool. Excuse me. So this is going to be my project for the next year. It's probably going to take me a good year to do that. And I'm okay with that. She understands. She's okay with that. What I'm probably going to do is take it with me to work and maybe on my lunch break work on it. I don't know. We'll see. I don't like to, it's very difficult to travel with a diamond painting because one, I keep it between two poster boards so that it stays straight, and it's kind of tacky walking around with these pieces of poster board. So I don't know. I don't want to take away from my stitching time, so I thought, rather than cross stitch at work during lunch, maybe I'll start doing I'll work on her diamond painting and just stick to doing my cross stitching in the evenings. So we'll see. I'm going to try this week and see how that works out. Anyways, I'm going to quit talking because I'm just ramming on. That is all I have for you today. Thank you so much. If you made it this far, thank you for putting up with me, and thank you for listening. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. My email, my Instagram information is listed below. I'm just Joanne the Eclectic Stitcher. But thank you for coming by. Again, don't forget that in December I will have some extras. But if you have any ideas, let me know. And if you want to see a whip parade, let me know. If you don't think it's necessary, I'm good with that too. Okay, thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye.